Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sub-Auteurs. My name's Mai.
I'm Misha.
And I'm Anjo.
Oh my God, there's no lag.
Why is there no lag?
We are
know.
back in the studio.
Yay! We
For
are
the first time.
in 2022. Very happy. Momentous occasion. I'm so happy.
First time we got through March without a lockdown.
Holy crap.
Oh my
in 2 years.
God. Things are going back to normal and we're recording face to face right now. And we're recording live from Big Baby Studios in the flesh, in person, like absolutely no internet hiccups or latency. So if we experience any, that's our fault.
I
Real
kinda miss
hiccups.
it.
That's totally on us now.
I miss the lag. I had something to blame back then.
Yeah. So, it's just so real right now. It's like, oh my God, we're an actual pod. But anyway, yeah. So, yes, we are recording live, but that's not the only special thing about this episode. This is the first ever Sub-Auteurs recording with a special guest. Yes, and we are so excited to have her, and we can't wait to hear about her expertise in this particular topic. So, yeah, let's get the show on the road. Today, we will be talking about King Richard, the Oscar-nominated film starring Will Smith. And you've probably already heard about the controversy surrounding it, which we might tackle on later on. But as far as the movie itself, it's the true story of Richard Williams, the father of the legendary tennis players Venus and Serena Williams.
Mhm.
And it's all about how he raised and trained them and all the adversity and challenges they had to overcome to be the superstars they are now. So Oscar worthy, obviously. These kind of biopics usually have that Oscar grab. So we invited the biggest tennis fan I know, and we figured it's best we have someone actually qualified to talk about tennis. Because I don't know anything about tennis. How about you guys?
Sports ball.
I know some. I know some because my mom's a huge fan.
Yeah,
so
my mom's a huge fan too, but like I don't necessarily like watch with her. Like I know the players.
Yes.
Do they even call them players? Sorry.
They're players.
Okay,
They're
okay.
players.
No. They're tennisers.
Tenniser.
Oh, okay, tennisers. So yeah, it's best that we actually have a guest for this who knows about tennis. So without further ado, please welcome our first ever guest on Sub-Auteurs,
Yay!
Hazel Hottie of the Morning Rush.
Welcome.
Hello.
I was biding my time. I think I overdid it. I wasn't talking at all. But hello. Oh my God. Thank you so much for inviting me. I think this is going to be fun because I talked to everyone I know about tennis. And
Yes.
finally, like, people are willing to listen.
We actually need you because
Yes.
I don't know. I have no idea at all. So Hazel and I are friends. She was literally the first person I thought of after watching King Richard. I did message you at the time.
Yes,
have
you
watched,
did.
Well, have you watched King Richard? Yeah. And I was like, hey, why don't you guest on the podcast? Because I don't know anything. I doubt my two co-hosts know much.
And we need credibility. Let's just say that.
Not only did I watch it, but I was so looking forward to it because I actually read Serena's book.
Oh.
Like many years ago, I read her autobiography and basically it's kind of like the movie.
Oh.
Okay,
Interesting.
cool.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But before we get to the movie, I would just want to ask Hazel. So tell us about yourself and your love of tennis.
Oh, well, I grew up watching tennis because my dad's a huge fan. So I remember when I was a kid, I used to love Martina Hingis, Pete Sampras. Those are like my favorites. And then as an adult, I kind of rediscovered my love for tennis and I started watching again. And I fell in love with Roger Federer. So he's like my number one. He's my bae. But Serena and Venus, actually, this is pretty interesting because I started off as a hater.
Really?
Coming from a
Really?
Hingis fan.
Juicy.
Okay,
This is
okay.
juicy.
From a Hingis
Well,
fan,
that's fair.
You're bound to hate one of the sisters. 'Cause
I was a hater and I felt like they were too flashy. Remember, because before they would wear like chandelier earrings during a match, and like they would be in. I was just like, what is going on? So I'd always root for their opponents, and then at some point there was a switch. I was like, you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. I'm just gonna support them because I was getting tired of like watching them and rooting for the opponent, and the opponent like getting a beat down. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to cheer on the Williams sisters, and I was like, okay. From then on, I just became a legit stan to the point that I look at Serena Williams as like not just my favorite tennis player, but like a role model, especially after reading her book and like learning about their life story and all that. I was like, you know what? I stan. So yeah, I'm like a huge fan.
All right, perfect.
Hey, Mai, good choice.
I know. Can she like talk the entire time?
I think we can say we're more credible now.
Like, we don't even need to be here.
It's like, okay, Hazel, keep talking. But anyway, yeah, so it's perfect that we have Hazel today. And unfortunately, I do wish, like, I know you're a bigger Roger Federer stan, but like, how do you...
Oh no, I just thirst over.
Oh, okay.
But like in terms of like being athletes, I stand them equally.
All right.
I have so much respect for both of them.
So what if there would be a Roger Federer biopic to come out?
Yeah.
Who do you think could play him?
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Tough
Why did
call.
Quentin Tarantino come to
Oh my God.
Okay.
He's going to direct it and he's also going to play I'm kidding.
If Tarantino's gonna direct a Roger Federer movie, a
We'll be
biopic,
looking at his feet for 90 minutes.
true, it's gonna be the bloodiest tennis game ever. For
It's like the opposite of what Roger Federer is, right? But
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure I just saw someone post about that and it kind of stuck, I guess. I was like,
I kind of see it though.
it's the chin.
Thanks.
It's the chin. But obviously Roger is way more attractive. But I don't know, someone really dapper and like someone who looks dignified because he has that vibe, right?
Yeah.
He's very I don't know,
Respectable and,
Very
like,
clean cut.
well put together.
yeah, he seems like a total gentleman.
Yeah.
Could play him though.
I don't know.
Not Quentin Tarantino.
No, please.
Because Andrew Garfield, I can see him play like Andy Murray.
Yes,
He kind of
they
looks
look
like
alike.
Andy Murray.
They look alike,
He
yeah.
does,
So I don't
actually.
know for Roger
Especially
Federer.
now that he's older.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right?
I don't know. I don't know for Roger Federer.
Okay, well, I guess we'll
He
think
can
about
play
it.
himself. I will appreciate that more.
Yeah, sure. He can Michael Jordan it or LeBron James it. I
Yes.
don't know. Some sort of Space Jam tennis.
Why'd I do that? Now all I see is Quentin Tarantino.
Stop!
Damn
No,
it, Google!
No.
All right. So back to King Richard. Obviously, this is mainly although the protagonist is mainly the father of the Williams sisters. So what did you guys think? First impressions right after seeing the movie. We can start with Hazel.
Fine.
You're the guest, so we'd love to hear from you.
Well, I don't know. I felt like it was going to be good because they produced it.
Mm-hmm.
Serena and Venus
Right.
produced the movie. So I was like, okay, so if anything, this is going to be pretty accurate. And when I found out that it was going to be Will Smith, I was also like, oh, okay, I totally see it. And he has that stereotype kind of down already. He's played
Yeah.
a lot of like the dad
Yeah.
figure, but
Yeah.
that's very Will Smith to me. So yeah, and I find him to be a good actor. So I was actually really looking forward to it. And when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, sold.
Mm.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, I thought it was one of the best movies of last year, and it just had the misfortune of coming out like roughly the same time as Spider-Man.
It's like West Side Story.
Like within a couple of weeks of Spider-Man. So like West Side Story and King Richard, these movies had no chance. Okay, they were screwed because people were. This is still the height of the pandemic, and people are like, if I'm gonna leave the house, I'm only leaving the house for fucking Spider-Man. They were not gonna come out for a sports biopic or a remake of a musical. So I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I agree with Hazel. Like, I knew Will Smith would put in a good performance because he's got this whole thing now where he wants to present himself as a positive role model.
More of that.
I'm talking about me from 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Pre-Oscars, Misha.
Yes.
Yes, there we go.
So yes, okay. So I liked it a lot better than some of his other biopics, like when he played Muhammad Ali, because I was watching Ali and I could never just shake the fact that I'm watching Will Smith doing a Muhammad Ali impression. I think because like his persona and Ali's persona were so clearly defined, but in this movie, I think even if he wasn't like doing a straight impression, he got across the emotion properly. So I like this one. I really liked it, and I saw why he got nominated. Absolutely.
And maybe because people actually don't see Richard Williams a lot.
That's true.
And you kind of don't have that image in your head already. Right. So when you watch Will Smith, it's like, oh, okay. And then you can check out Richard Williams and you can make that comparison.
Right,
yeah.
As opposed to someone like Ali, and you're like very familiar with Ali.
Yes.
So I guess maybe that's the difference.
That makes sense.
The first impression I had though was watching this was coming from a basketball fan was that Richard Williams was the LeVar Ball of tennis before LeVar Ball ever existed in basketball. You know, like kids going to be the dominant players of the sport that they choose to play in. That was Richard Williams, because he firmly believed that. He wrote the 78-page essay on why and how his girls were going to be tennis players. But you know, like coming from his previous biopics like Concussion, which wasn't really that great. No. This was surprisingly fun to watch Will Smith in, because you know, like we know that he's been trying to win an Oscar for a while, or at least trying to be credible enough to people.
Yep.
But
Bad Boys movies weren't doing it.
Nope. But this did it.
And I think that's part of why he didn't do Suicide Squad. I mean, the Suicide Squad, the new one. Because like, he was in the first shitty one. Yeah. Well, thankfully, he wasn't there. Sorry, but I prefer Idris Elba. You know me. But yeah, that was the last role I saw him in. And it was also very dad-centered. Like, his character was also like, I'm doing it for the kids.
Oh,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
he
blah.
was.
Yeah, so I have this, in my head, there was like a Will Smith stereotype already. And while watching it, I was getting Pursuit of Happiness vibes, because he was just so downtrodden, you know, the hardworking father sob story kind of thing. So I was in the middle of the movie, I was like thinking, oh no, he might be typecast for this. But eventually, thankfully, it didn't go full wah.
Yeah.
Because that's the vibe in Pursuit of Happiness, diba? But I'm glad it didn't go that direction. And not as tear-jerking as that performance, but it's still pretty good. Like, I do understand why he
It's funny
was
how you
nominated.
mentioned tear-jerking, because I don't know if I was watching a biopic or a sports movie when I watched King Richard. Because it was like, do I focus on the biopic or just do I focus on the sport aspect of this movie? But it merged really well though. Like they managed to be able to tell a very cohesive story, maybe in part because the Williams sisters had a hand in the production, and one of the sisters was a producer as well.
So what do you guys think about the decision to focus the story more on Richard as opposed to the sisters, who are clearly the more popular ones? Because like Hazel said, like nobody really knows about Richard because he's very behind the scenes.
Right.
So what do you think about that?
I was thinking about that before you brought it up. I was like, you know, I'm not sure though. When I found out about it, I was like, but it might not work in their favor to call it King Richard in the first place, just because a lot of people who aren't familiar with the Williams family, and who, I don't know, people who won't get to see like the poster, they will have no idea what this movie is about. They will think it's some sort of like royalty movie, right? King Richard.
That was
or
my
whatever.
impression before knowing anything else.
So I felt like, you know, had they focused it on the sisters, like had they called the movie Venus and Serena, I just feel like maybe it would have, I don't know, been more successful commercially. I don't know, just a thought. But I mean, overall, I do get why they decided to focus on the dad though, because obviously everything comes from him, and he basically was the one responsible for the whole, you know, their whole career and everything. So yeah, and actually, even though a lot of people aren't familiar with him, he was quite, you know, a personality in tennis. Like behind the scenes, people knew who he was because he was like not a helicopter dad, but like something even more. He was
like a tiger mom, but
crazy,
tiger dad or something.
like times 20. Like he would be at all the matches. He would be super vocal. So I get why they decided on a controversial character like Richard Williams.
See, LeVar Ball of tennis.
Yeah, but except I don't think that LeVar Ball's kids are going to be in any hurry to make a biopic about him.
No. But they do have a reality show.
Yeah, I know, right? No. Okay, my thing with building it around Richard Williams, king or not, is that, and I'm not the only one who said this, because I did some reading up after the movie because I really liked it. And what I found was, like, there are some people who say that this is just the most blatant kind of PR. It's image rehab for the guy because they're, as much as people look up to him for building these champions, these world-class, greatest, of any goddamn level champions, there's also people who said that what kind of a person drafts a 75-page manifesto for their children before they're even born? It's like they didn't even have a choice in this. And there was a documentary a couple of years ago. There have been articles talking about how maybe he wasn't the nicest person in the world in trying to accomplish this. And the movie actively pushes back against that to show that he always had their best interest at heart. So I don't know how much of this is the sisters giving back to the one who built their success and how much of it is just preserving their overall legend. But as a movie, I like the movie.
Mm-hmm. So what can you say about what Serena has said in her book about her father in contrast to the movie?
It's an accurate portrayal. It was no secret to me that he decided to have kids to turn them into these superstars, like these tennis players, because and it was mentioned in the movie, like he was watching a championship match, I think, and then he was like, my God, like that check is bigger than what I get in a year.
Right.
And he was like, you know what, that's what we're doing. We're going to have 2 kids and we're going to make them tennis stars. And to me, I don't know, that was just so dope, to be honest, with no tennis background whatsoever. He just did it. He just studied, like he bought books. I mean, anyone can have that idea and anyone can try, but I don't think many people will succeed, right? Like he did.
It was just sheer willpower.
Yeah.
Willpower.
Pun intended.
I see what you did there.
It's just interesting how you can translate that because, playing a sport is so physical and reading books is just so different. So it's so hard to apply those in practice because I can't imagine just reading a book about, let's say, basketball and you going on the court and just start shooting. You'd be Steph Curry.
Yes.
It's impossible.
But seriously, I mean, from the day your kids are born, they come out 7 pounds, but in the pursuit of their happiness, you're going... No, I'm not going that.
No, we're keeping it. Will Smith puns.
Coming from the wild west of Compton.
Oh my God. I knew it.
He hitched them to this sport.
Wearing as a man in black? No.
He gets jiggy with it though.
In Miami.
No, but I agree with you completely. This took a supreme act of will to actually pull off this crazy plan. And the fact that they didn't come out complete douchebags, his children, and they actually became role models to millions of athletes around the world, regardless of sport, I think, that is something that should be acknowledged, No,
I think they did acknowledge that in the movie where they started being more successful as tennis players, even when they were still kids. Because you see the gangs stopped harassing them in the movie because how big they were, as symbols to a community. They didn't really come from the best neighborhood as children.
Right.
They came from a neighborhood where, their neighbors would be selling drugs or, be pimping their kids or whatever. That was addressed in the movie.
Yeah. So now let's get to the direction of it. This was directed by Reynaldo Marcus Green. And what can you guys say about this being a biopic / sports movie? How was as you mentioned earlier, Anja, how was the whole marriage of the sports aspect and the biopic aspect?
It was pretty interesting because when you say it's a sports movie, you tend to focus more on the athletes and not so much the people behind these athletes.
Yeah.
And in this case, it was their father, which is pretty hard to do because you don't really see parents in a sports movie. But in this case, he was also the coach. So it was very tied. It was tied very closely together. And it was such an interesting combo that they managed to mesh well when they started film, when they were telling the story of King Richard.
For sure. And I like that they didn't paint him as an out and out saint in this one. Like he's got his conflicts with the wife and, they don't always agree, at some points he's questioned. He's questioned by the people who are closest to him. But like, what are you doing this for? Is this for you or for them? So I appreciated that they aired that side of the issue.
Yes, yes.
So it's kind of like this also dramatic side of it. For the first half, most of it actually. But then when it got to the tennis parts, what is your opinion on like someone who watches tennis constantly?
I mean, I did love the last part of the movie when they actually showed clips of the actual Venus and Serena playing and all that, all those footage. But like in general, I just feel like, to be honest, it felt bitten because there's so much more that happened after where the movie ended that could have been used in the biopic as well. So I was just like, okay, so why didn't they show this? Why didn't they show that? Like for example, one of the sisters actually suffered from a tragic shooting and died. Tundi,
damn,
the oldest sister. Yeah, so they actually didn't show that anymore, and they didn't show how the family recovered from that and how the marriage ended because Richard and Oracene, they're no longer together. So I just wanted to see more.
Yeah, but the game, how was the gameplay sports wise?
It looked convincing.
Okay.
It looked legit to me.
I have a question. What is the open stance he was trying to force? They play with the open stance. What's an open stance?
I don't even know what the hell that was about. But I mean, I guess it worked. 23 Grand Slams after for Serena. How many for Venus? So, yeah.
The Punisher was not convinced though at the beginning.
The Punisher? Well, yeah, I mean, like they did have to play as professional coaches. You would have to see these players in action for you to be able to tell if they had it in them. And, having to convince one of the most successful tennis coaches with these two kids from a bad neighborhood not known for tennis,
right?
That's impressive.
Yeah,
guy flew them out to Miami, paid for their house, paid for their trips to Disneyland. That's just insane.
That was the aspect of the movie that amazed me the most because they had so many demands.
Yes.
Like, you bring out my entire family.
Give us a house.
You put all my daughters through school. Not even the ones not playing tennis.
They were that good that early.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Also, he did have a 15% cut off of whatever they would make. I mean, like that's 15% out of like $15 million.
Exactly. And like the absolute faith put in the sisters, it's just crazy to me. And especially the movie kind of also picked up, like for me, emotionally when they started getting deals even before, they didn't want them to play juniors, right? They just wanted to go pro right away. But then even like sponsors would come in before Venus's first game even started. They'd get like a $3 million check or something. And to even refuse that.
Not gonna lie, I would have signed.
Me too.
Same.
I would have just taken the money.
That's $3 million.
It's like, even if you lose tomorrow, that's money in the bank.
Exactly.
But Richard had so much faith in his daughters that they're like, no, we're not taking it.
But can you imagine $3 million in the 90s? $3 million in the 90s?
For someone who has nothing yet.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Crazy.
And if that backfired, well, thankfully it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get the spoilers. This is a true story. So.
Sure.
What happened to Venus and Serena? I'm not sure.
I think they become famous.
As what? Tennis players pa rin?
I think so.
Let me look them up.
But yeah, it's just the whole progression of the story. Even before it got like the big tennis match at the end, it was pretty exciting for me pacing wise because like there are so many things that Richard said no to,
right,
that I could not myself fathom.
Yeah,
and there were things like I couldn't imagine. Like, I mean, everything he did had a point, right? Even when he farts in a business meeting, he's doing that for a purpose.
Yeah. Totally.
Oh yeah, that scene left me stunned. I was like, what did he fart? And my wife just says, yeah, he did. It's like, huh.
Okay.
Interesting.
Right.
Safe to say that meeting didn't go so well.
You should try that next time you have a meeting.
No.
say this has a purpose. I'm proving a point. So we can also get to the casting. Of course, Will Smith did a great job. And I personally didn't have any idea about Richard Williams beforehand, but even without it, I believed it.
Yes.
So
I actually just watched a video of an interview of Richard Williams, and like Will Smith did it. Like he absolutely nailed the intonation and the way that Richard Williams would talk.
yeah,
It's
the
like,
accent,
this
he did.
guy's pretty convincing. He was so good in this movie.
But can we talk about the kids?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Yes.
Oh my God, great casting.
Yeah.
I was like, I can totally picture young Venus looking like that and young Serena looking like that. Even like the body, the build, like so accurate, so perfect. And the face,
Yes,
so accurate.
yes, the face. Like I could literally, even if I do not watch tennis a lot, I know their faces, and you could like clearly say, "Oh, this is Venus." This is
Yeah.
Serena."
Yeah, they're
Even for
icons.
someone who doesn't watch the
And
sport
even the
religiously.
mom or a
Oh.
scene. Oh, she's iconic on her own. Trust me, you should look for memes or a scene memes.
For
I
tennis
promise
fans?
you. Yes,
What's she famous for?
she sleeps during
What's she famous for?
I kid you not. The most intense matches, like Grand Slam matches, and then the camera would pan to Oracene Mama O, and she's like asleep. Like not a care in the world. I swear she is hilarious. I love her actually. And I felt like the actress portrayed her so well.
Yes. It's good that you mentioned her. I think she was one of my favorite parts of this movie. Aside from Will Smith. Will Smith is a given.
Mhm.
But then you see Anjanu Ellis, and
Yeah.
she was
Yep.
amazing. Every
Yes.
time that she and Will Smith were on screen together, it was just amazing chemistry between the two.
Wasn't she in that Netflix movie or docu-series
Which one?
about the kids accused of something? Like they went
the kids who raped somebody in Central Park. And
accused of rape. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it
Yeah, that
called?
one. Oh my God, that made me cry
something
so
like
much.
Now they see see
Yeah.
us now, something like that.
I couldn't watch
Okay,
it.
hold on 2
Oh.
seconds.
Oh my God, you should watch it.
It's just too depressing.
It's heartbreaking, but
Mhm.
she was also super good in that. I remember her. Yeah.
And how they would bicker like an actual married couple.
Yes, I agree.
I could totally see like this whole situation, how husband and wife would argue on how the kids are being raised.
That-
Like the dad's like the hard ass, bad cop. This is a bad cop, good cop kind of situation.
There are two scenes that I enjoyed them in together as husband and wife. That one scene where they left the kids in the store.
Oh yeah, when they
Like,
drove
"Yeah,
off.
just leave my kids out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not being humble. No, they're our kids. Pick them back up. That scene and the scene where they were talking to the coach, the first coach, where they decided to stop with them because they didn't want the sponsorship.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, and then Anjanu was just there saying like, if you ever make me look like a fool, I know because of my religion, I'm supposed to be backing my husband.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make me look like a fool in front of somebody, our marriage is over. Like that scene, it was to me as a married man was pretty powerful because I go through that. Like my wife and I talk about these things now.
So which one are you?
I'm Anjanu.
Oh,
Pash, I love you. Please don't kill me.
Good save, good save.
Love you.
Pash, lagot. All right. So I also want to talk about the coach, aka Punisher.
I love John Bernthal in anything, honestly.
I love the whole porn stash look.
He's got
and
this
the hair.
and those tiny ass shorts because I don't know why.
With this 80s hair.
I didn't. I would never have imagined him in a million years
He's great.
as that, because the last time we saw him in a major role was in The Punisher, where he was just this hard ass vigilante.
Hottie.
I love your priorities.
That's why we're friends.
I didn't know this episode would have a thirst portion.
I wasn't expecting it
I just
either.
realized. I was like, oh, right.
Was
Wait,
it the shorts?
John Berthel was there.
Is it the shorts or the mustache?
No, I've always had the hots for him, even from like The Walking Dead. So.
I see.
Mhm.
Oh, Shane. But okay. Yeah, I love John Bernthal in this because, like Anjanu Ellis, he provides a counterpoint to quote unquote the insanity of King Richard.
Mhm.
And it's just fun to see his frustration.
Oh yeah.
And how he's just so he can't figure Richard out. He doesn't know where the hell this guy's coming from, where he gets the balls to do and say the things he does. But when he starts to see the wisdom of it, he comes around
Yeah.
and he becomes like their biggest fan, their biggest supporter.
It's pretty sweet because if that was me in their position, I would totally go, I'm paying you for this. I'm paying for your house,
Yeah.
your education, everything. Like one word from me and you can totally go back home to Compton.
You go to Disneyland, you bring me with you. What the hell, man?
Of course, he's gonna come around if he's gonna get 15% of whatever they're earning.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
But I could like really feel the frustration that he was going through, and he would even play this like back and forth with Richard because, like you said, I can't figure you out. But you know, at the same time, if that was me, I'm like, do I gamble on this? Like they don't go the usual route.
Right.
Like the safety net is you go through juniors, you go through the entire process, but this fucker just wants to skip that entirely. And that's my money on the line.
To be fair, though, I don't think anyone could figure Richard Williams out. Like watching the whole thing, is like, this guy is crazy enough to write an 80-page essay for the success of his children.
Like even his daughters at some point, I guess, didn't understand.
At
like,
some point, they
yeah.
cut ties with him as their coach.
Oh,
No kidding.
Please tell us more
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, no, I mean,
They did.
Serena is coached by Patrick Moratoglu.
Okay.
And he's been her coach since, I don't know how many Grand Slams ago, but because she had like a dip in her career and people thought her career was over, like she's done. But then he kind of, she decided to work with him and he helped her out. And she won so many more slams after that.
Nice.
Good
So,
for her.
yeah.
But yeah.
Wait, what about Coach Rick? What was he like in real life? Was he like that, or were they just exaggerating?
I'm not
it?
sure because I'm not very familiar with him. I only read about him in the book.
Okay.
So, but I figured he's like, any other coach in the US, kind of like that. I feel like that's
Not
what they
nearly
do
as
it.
hot as John Bernthal.
Oh, of course not.
But I love how he also gave a lot of color to the character because he was definitely more fun than the first coach. Like the
True.
coach of Pete Sampras. And I was amused, like, oh, I know Pete Sampras. He's there.
And it's pretty accurate,
Uh-huh.
The actor looked a lot like young Pete.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar with Pete Sampras.
I do remember
I
like
know
my
the name.
Don't look at him now because you will not understand the thirst coming from me. But look at young Pete when he had all the hair.
Yeah, I do remember like my mom and brother at some point. Back then, the Hingis Sampras days pa, they would totally watch tennis religiously too. So I am familiar. But back to John Bernthal, I really like his portrayal because he seemed like a fun guy. Like, la lang. Boring kasi ng first coach eh.
But it's so interesting to see him in a role where when he's frustrated, he doesn't end up hitting the person.
Killing
He's-
the person.
He's killing the person he's frustrated with. And it was refreshing. And he's actually good.
He's such a good actor.
He is.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. He was really fun. I think to some point, comic relief then. For
Yeah.
me, or I don't know if he just looks funny to me in general.
He's just very charming.
Yeah,
he has
he
that
is.
special something.
Mhm. I did enjoy that. So are there any like memorable scenes that you feel like made you think, this is the Oscar moment. This is why this film was even nominated.
I think it was hard to pinpoint for me.
Mhm.
This is my opinion is coming into this movie because I knew that Will Smith already won the Oscar for this. It was kind of hard for me to pinpoint because the entire thing was just an incredible piece of work coming from him.
Mhm.
Because maybe that one scene where he was alone, struggling with the thought of what he would do with his children early on, if he was gonna try and protect them the way he knew how.
Right.
You know, he was going to go down the way that he was trying to get his kids away from, which was trying to kill off the guy who beat him on the tennis court. Right. So that was like interesting because there was an internal struggle there that you knew that he was having. Like, do I protect my kids the way I know how with violence, or do I stick to the plan?
Right.
Because there are two ways of protecting his children, right? So that was pretty interesting for me.
And isn't it ironic how it all turned out?
Yeah, that one seems like, well, I guess he's safe.
Yeah.
I liked it wasn't any one moment for me. It was taking it as a whole, because like usually when you see a movie like this, it's easy to just say Oscar bait, because somebody clearly wants a trophy. But there was no like single moment where the whole movie just stops so he could give a monologue that they'll use in the clip package.
Exactly, it was more of an ensemble thing.
Exactly. You got to take it as a whole for me. So I just looked at the whole movie. I couldn't pinpoint any one moment if you asked.
Yeah. It also wasn't it wasn't a selfish performance on Will Smith's end.
I think that's why I liked it more than Ali, because I know what you're gonna say about Ali being like the ultimate showman, but the performance doesn't have to be, showy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, but I will stand by my belief that it is.
Fine, because he's Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
But I have to ask Hazel, what was stuff like that you saw in the book that you wish they'd included in the movie, in this part of their lives, not what came after?
I think I would have liked to see more of Serena and Venus in school. Like I said, more on the kids, really.
Right.
Because they didn't show, like, for example, the whole bed situation, and how he was telling them, eventually, you're going to earn enough money to afford a bed each. Because when they were little, they used to, Serena, being the youngest, used to rotate. Like, they had, I think, four beds, so one for each of the older sisters, and then Serena would pick like which sister she would sleep next to every night, and she would usually end up sleeping beside Venus because they're the closest. So I wish they showed more of that, more of those sweet moments between the sisters. And I also remember reading from the book, like in school, how they were, because Serena was like the bratty little sister, and Venus was like, she's like the saint. She's like the perfect older sister. Like, Serena went to school, lost her money somewhere, didn't have money to buy lunch, and Venus will just end up giving her money and skipping lunch just so Serena could eat. And Serena, she wrote all that in her book, and I wish we got to see it in the movie just to highlight their relationship more.
That's so sweet.
That's a legit thing I would probably look for if I had that knowledge too.
I think so.
I also appreciated in the movie though that, of course, at the start of everything, maybe because Venus was older, or maybe at that point Venus's skills were more advanced than Serena's at the time. I also appreciated how Serena would have her moments. Like, I would feel fucking left out too. If like you're looking for a coach for both of us and you don't get me, I would feel so bad.
It's like
but it helped her.
Yeah.
It's like my wife Posh, she said now that's the second child syndrome. Like they have to be more competitive. They have to do better than the eldest child. That's why.
It's where the hugot comes from.
Yeah, that's probably where she got that fire to like actually get to where she is now. But I appreciated that part. I really liked, I found really sweet that little speech Richard gave Serena when they were already at the big game and everything. And Serena was just like watching by the sidelines. And he was just telling her, like, you will have your time. Like, your sister will be number one, but you will be greatest of all time. That gave me goosebumps.
Chills, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's true.
I wish they also focused more on the trophy swapping thing, because in her book, she talked about that a lot, and how that was like, that trophy, because God knows how many trophies she has by now, right? Like, she's kept that trophy on her bedside since she was little, because it was so symbolic of like their relationship as sisters. Because Serena did not win, Venus did, so she only had a silver trophy and Venus had the gold. And she was sulking the whole time, and Venus was like, you know what? I never really liked gold anyway. Would you like to swap?
Aww.
And so they swapped. And so she's kept that trophy to motivate her for the longest time. And it's just so beautiful, their relationship.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. I'm not going to give her my
watch that
trophy if I
movie.
were the older sister.
Now, I want to watch that movie.
Right?
You have a movie named Venus, called Venus and Serena.
I do feel like they might have that eventually, just because, like I said, there's still so many things that they didn't actually tackle in the movie. And up to now, like, right, their lives are still super interesting. Her married life, her mom life. She did have a documentary on HBO when she was pregnant with her first child. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's
No.
also I don't know. If you're interested, you should check it out. It's a very
Does she
good
have a
documentary.
75-page manifesto for that baby too?
No, she did not. Maybe Alexis,
I see.
husband, Reddit guy.
Oh man. But yeah, well the last game actually was like the pivotal moment in the film, which really like gave us tennis. And I lost my train of thought.
I thought it was very well shot because it was exciting. Because the challenge with shooting sports for a movie is it's hard to get the energy and the excitement. Because if you just point a camera at the court, you're not gonna get the feels, honestly. But the way they did this, the way they presented it, this is when it turned into a full-blown sports pick.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Yes.
And I really liked it. It's the first time in the whole movie we actually saw any tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An actual match.
You know, I was also surprised they didn't show the very famous or infamous Indian Wells tournament that they boycotted for like the longest time. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Why'd they do that?
No, because Serena and Venus ended up playing in the final match. But then, or no, they were supposed to play, I think, but Venus got injured, so she couldn't play. And then they were saying, oh, this is rigged. Like you're doing this for some reason or whatever. And then during the finals, like the whole crowd was against them and throwing racial slurs at Richard and Venus, who were
Holy
in the
crap.
audience while Serena was playing. And so after that, Serena won, but after that, she never returned to Indian Wells for like over a decade.
Wow.
Like both of them, they never returned to that tournament. And it's a very big part of the book. Because obviously it talks about the struggles of being Black and playing tennis and being in that world and what they had to go through before they earned the respect that they're enjoying now. And I just feel like, that would have been like a moment for Will Smith
For sure.
to have that scene and to show that to everybody. So I felt like that was a missed opportunity because they didn't go there anymore. But yeah, I would have liked to see more of that. But maybe that was too ugly for them to actually...
Maybe
I don't know.
It
Go
might have
back to?
happened in the point of their careers further down.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
So we've talked about what Hazel has talked about what she wishes was in it, but maybe for us, just looking at the movie itself without any outside knowledge, just as the movie itself, is there anything you guys would have wanted to change or didn't like about
I want to
it?
see all that stuff in a sequel. I want Will Smith to do Too Fast, Too Richard. I'm not kidding, okay? They have to make another one of these movies. Or do like a series on HBO Max just about the kids, you know?
Do
Since
Queen
that's a
Serena.
thing now.
Yeah.
Same thing. Because honestly, this movie tackled a lot of the things that we had questions about Richard Williams. Because it told us a great story of a father trying to lift his kids up out of poverty. It also shows us how much of an impact the Williams sister had on the sport and the community.
Yeah, I really love
So-
that ending.
Yep. So
it
that's
was so heartwarming. Like all the
Exactly,
little
right?
kids, little black girls
Yep.
looking up to them,
So-
being so happy.
and now you have all people of color dominating, play very successful in the sport. Like you have Sloane Stephens, right? Sloane Stephens.
Yeah, Naomi Osaka.
Naomi Osaka is one, and more guys. So it just really shows you how much Richard and his two girls have opened up the sport to more people. It's more accessible now. It's more popular. They've made it more popular than ever. So I don't think I would want to see anything else if it was just about Richard Williams.
Me personally, I thought the whole gang violence would go somewhere. Like they built it up so much
they
at
did.
the start.
They did.
And it was built up a lot at the beginning, and that's how they really showed. That's how they chose to show how hard it was for Richard because
Yes,
he'd worked so
yes.
many jobs and then he's being bullied by this gang, but it didn't really get a satisfying payoff for
That's
me.
true.
Like
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
the guy who beat Richard up got shot eventually,
Right.
which was like whoa, okay.
Oh.
Problem solved for Richard.
Yeah, I know, but not okay. Maybe it didn't happen. It did happen like that, but after that, parang okay na.
That's why I thought they were gonna show what happened to the sister.
Yeah.
Because basically
Ooh.
that's what happened.
Yeah, they were building up Tundi being
Tundi,
hit on.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Yep. So
Well, that makes sense.
because she stays in Compton.
Yeah.
And essentially that's
She
what
gets shot.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And like when things turned around for them, the gang would even be protective of the family
Right,
later
right.
on. So it was just like such a fast turning point that it
Yeah.
wasn't really satisfying for me, especially with how they built it up at the start.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just expecting more from that,
Right.
especially because Richard kept saying that he was hell bent on not wanting his kids to have that kind of
Yes.
life, right?
Mhm.
And some of it was just shown through the news, like what happened to the other female tennis player who was also a rising star at the time, and then she ran away, got caught with drugs, etc.,
Right.
etc.
Jennifer
And
Capriati.
yeah, and we
Yep.
only saw that through like news.
She beat Martina Hingis in one Grand Slam.
So you're happy about that?
No, I was not. I was very unhappy about that.
No,
Martina
when she got
Hingis.
arrested
Oh.
and stuff.
I'm gonna say no.
Let's just say no.
Read my face.
Look, I
Good thing this is a podcast and nobody can see your face.
No, but I appreciated that whole message of using sports and the values inherent to sports and to elevate their lives, to get them away from that gang violence.
Yeah.
Because the last movie that we saw that touched on this kind of source material, it taught us that the more ballet you know, the worse your gang life will be. And it didn't end well for Tony and West Side Story. So I'm glad to see that there are some people who make it out of that life.
But
Yeah, but it showed you how much hard work and dedication.
Absolutely.
That you
yes.
know,
I mean,
that's
as much
what-
as he wanted to stick it to the man by putting
You gotta work for it.
his African American daughters in a very white sport, it was also about giving them, a better life than the one that he had, that his wife had.
exactly. Like he kept saying it. That's why I kind of wished I saw more of that.
Yeah.
That life they wanted to avoid, I guess.
But they wanted the big sports finish.
I guess. But I don't know. It just felt like a cop out, or like the news part was like a cop out, or like it was just built up so
I
much
think-
and didn't get anywhere.
I
That's
think
my only gripe.
they just used it to set the tone, but not it kind of ended up being just a distraction.
Background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so it kind of distracted us from what was happening.
Yeah.
But yeah. Wasted potential, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Still a
I
good
mean,
movie.
It's still pretty good.
Let's
Yeah.
wait for the Venus and Serena one. And I
That
think
I wanna
that will
watch.
happen after retirement because they're still active.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
they're still
are.
That's
playing.
true.
So maybe they're waiting for when they retire.
Yeah, and they still have so many stories to still
Yeah.
Yeah.
make
Mm-hmm.
at this point because they're still very
Maybe they
active
can do
and
it like Will
successful.
Smith is 65.
65.
He'll be old man Richard.
Old man Rich. Okay, so now I guess we gotta address the elephant in the room, especially
Oh,
Oh, that you heard that.
what just happened?
Unexpected violence.
I think a little harder.
I didn't
okay.
catch that. Can you do it again?
The fuck?
Are you sleepy, man?
So you see, children, violence is never the answer.
Well,
That's true. That's very true.
yeah. So if you live under a rock, which obviously you wouldn't be listening to this episode if you didn't, probably, because this is what the buzz is all about. Like some people, like probably me and Anjo.
It's funny how you mentioned rock.
I've never been under the rock.
I did not think of that.
did,
I
right?
didn't think of that. But this I watched it after the whole Oscars controversy.
Oh, yeah.
So I think considering how big of a scandal that was, I was still able to separate myself from what happened and Will Smith's character as King Richard, which I guess is a good sign because for maybe a lot of people at the back of their minds while watching this, it's like, ooh, you know what happened?
No, I'd have to agree because because now it's a question of does he deserve the Oscars? Without a doubt, I would say yes. He was amazing in this movie.
Sure.
But then that happened.
I saw the movie a couple of months before you guys, and so it was before the whole slap thing. But after seeing him, basically go up on stage and beat the shit out of Chris Rock in front of the world. Okay, that's exaggerating, but I found it hard to recommend the movie after that because one of the biggest themes of the movie is using sports, using values to rise above, base impulses like turning to violence or turning to drugs and all that, and that's something that is that Will Smith, Chris Rock, all these other African American and minority actors have to deal with on a daily basis because they are judged to a higher standard than the average white performer. I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but when you're seeing a minority in a major prominent role, you kind of expect more from them. And the fact that Will Smith, by and large, is one of the few crossover African American actors, he damn well should have known what kind of example he was showing to the world, especially as far as, black on black violence went.
Yeah, it made me so sad. I felt like it took away from the moment. It took away from the family.
Yeah. Yes.
And like all the efforts that they exerted into making the movie. And they were there.
You saw
it
their
happened.
faces?
Oh my gosh.
Their reactions?
Yeah, I watched Serena's IG stories after and she was like, she was making faces.
I think everybody would make faces like that because, you're in the awards show.
What the hell was
but
that?
But they were classier than Will Smith in that they didn't actually comment on it or make a scene. They didn't make it about them.
Yeah.
True.
It's very true.
But I don't agree that, I don't know, because some people are saying he should give it back. He should give his Oscar back. I don't agree with it because I feel like he deserved it. He got it for his acting. And I feel like the 10-year ban should be, I feel like it's enough. And when he resigned from the Academy and he just accepted the 10-year ban, like, isn't that enough? There have been worse things committed by Oscar winners.
That is true. Absolutely, yes.
So.
But I think another part of the argument comes from the fact that if you look at the different angles of the actual incident, you see that he's laughing along initially until he notices that Jada's not. And then that's like when he decides, I have to get up and quote unquote be a man now. I mean, what is he trying to prove at this point already? I mean,
that he can do what he wants.
She's already essentially made a fool of him in front of the entire world with that whole, we have an open marriage.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying, that's probably what he was thinking when
he's overcompensating to prove he's still a man, quote unquote.
Yeah, and all the frustration, I think, of like being embarrassed in front of everybody and just being made a fool of.
And slapping the guy, you're like a foot taller than Chris Rock. What the hell, man?
He is a rock, though.
But and then screaming profanities from the front row.
Yeah. Twice.
That was so intense.
Yeah, that was a shocker. And yeah, just like Hazel said, it's unfortunate that it took away from everything they wanted to say because this movie actually I had a lot of takeaways from it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it was such an movie.
If you're
it's
gonna
still
take
a good
away,
movie.
If you're gonna take away everything, the controversy that happened in the Oscars, this movie actually gave you a lot of the warm fuzzies.
Yeah, it did. And like I really appreciated. Well, my biggest takeaway is knowing your worth, which a lot of people probably don't, apply because like Richard fucking knew how much his daughters were worth to turn down $3 million contracts.
Yes.
He's like, turned down something bigger, but right?
Even bigger. 12. The offers got higher and higher, but he was like, no.
And even better was how he passed that on to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even the daughters were like, I don't feel right about accepting this money without even showing anyone what I've got.
Right?
It's mad respect. And especially with how hard he was on them, I guess, well, they were consenting about it, which is not an issue. But this type of approach would not work on a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And this would make for a very toxic relationship probably. Like, I don't know if they actually have these problems as people, but they look like they turned out fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that kind of parenting will work in 2022.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that's going to go. But at the time, I guess, it worked for them. And they do have a very sweet relationship, it seems. And even in the movie, it was portrayed like when they're not playing or when he's not coaching them. He's very sweet. And they love him so much. Like, till now, like you will see them post about their dad and like how they would visit him and all that. So I think that says a lot about the kind of relationship that they were able to maintain.
I mean, if they still love him after leaving them in a bodega in a shady neighborhood.
Yeah. Although, personally, think, yes, the 10-year, I think 10 years is even a little excessive. I'm not sure. But okay, if that's the decision, then fine.
But what did they really take away from him? He just doesn't
He
have
can't
to
attend.
attend.
He doesn't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
to attend.
Yeah.
He
but
can still be nominated.
I
He
guess,
can still
fine.
win.
Yeah, I guess it's fine. But personally, I haven't seen all the Oscar nominees, but
Mm-mm.
I do think Will Smith really did amazing, but he wasn't necessarily my best actor.
Ooh, who you got?
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Andy Murray.
Andy Murray.
Yes, Andy Murray. Okay, well, I don't know. I just found that Andrew Garfield did a better job in Tick Tick
Ooh.
Boom. A lot more range, I guess, but I wasn't mad at it. Like after seeing King Richard, I was like, okay, yeah, I prefer Andrew, but all right.
Maybe it's like one of those things where, those old white voters, they figure when they look at Andrew Garfield, he's still young, we can give it to him in 5 years or something. Will Smith has been trying for 20 years at this point.
That was also my feeling about Kristen Stewart. Like I wanted Kristen Stewart to win.
Like,
Okay,
she's
yeah,
still
she's
young.
still young. She
Yeah,
has many
yeah.
years ahead of
Yeah.
her.
She was great in Spencer, though.
Yeah.
She was amazing,
Yeah.
Spencer.
Yeah, and Andrew Garfield was also amazing in Tick Tick Boom. Like he worked so hard.
Yep, he learned to sing over like a year and a half.
Yeah, and as a Renthead and a Jonathan Larson fan,
Mhm.
he did amazing as well. But you see the pattern, these biopics
Yes.
like getting Oscar bait.
Of
Wala na, I
course.
just noticed it.
Yeah, that's why I had my doubts watching this movie at first because biopic na naman.
Yeah.
It's like the nth straight year a biopic is in the Oscars.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and especially after Bohemian Rhapsody won.
Mhm.
Blah.
Well, biopic or war picture. That's like the easiest way to get
Yes.
a trophy, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Or based on a true story.
Yeah.
So
Aaron Brockovich.
So but okay. So despite my reservations, that's why when we had our meeting and we were talking about should we still cover this movie, after all the controversy and whatever that came after it came out, I said yeah because I need to know that I'm not crazy. I need to know that I really liked it before the slap. I need to know if it still holds up after. So I needed people with fresh eyes to watch it.
I think it still holds up. I
does.
thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I was able to put the controversy aside and
Yeah,
just watch
same.
it and enjoy the film as it was without tying it to.
Without seeing Will Smith, right?
Yeah.
Just seeing
I
King
saw
Richard.
Richard.
I saw Richard.
Yeah.
See, that-
Sayang lang yung what they wanted to say with it.
Yeah.
It was just like
for sure.
buried under that whole slap thing. But what can we do?
Yeah.
Okay, what we can do is
Slap
Enjoy
each
the movie.
other? No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa! 0 to 100. Is it the caffeine?
I will watch. I'll be the person. I'll be Lupita Nyong'o at the side being like, ooh,
I'll be the cameraman. I'll be the cameraman.
hey, that's me. With her face. It's like,
Yeah.
that's gonna be me.
She was all of us.
exactly.
It's funny how when I saw that footage, I focused on her. It's like- I felt so awkward.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
felt so awkward for her.
Because she was smiling at first. She thought it was.
She thought it was a-
she
she
thought
was like,
a joke.
it
I
was a
thought
bit-
But it was like a
joke.
little smile. Like
Yep,
Yeah, it's like the I'm not sure smile.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was how I felt. It's like, is this a stunt? Oh shit! No, it's not. It's not a stunt.
Yeah, I legit also thought it was a stunt, which is why Parang ganun.
But then he started screaming.
Yup.
Yep. No, I thought the screaming was part of it, and then the second one happened.
No,
So,
but
oh.
like they said, I think it was on one of the late night shows, like the day after, or a couple of days later, because Fox News is trying to put it out there that it was all a work, it was all a bit.
Yeah.
But on one of the late night show hosts were like, "So that's your argument, Fox News? You're saying that Will Smith killed all of his goodwill just so Chris Rock and Kevin Hart could sell concert tickets? I mean, this is your argument."
Well,
It's Fox News.
It's Fox News.
although Chris Rock, after that whole incident, got sold out shows.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It worked in his favor.
they thought
though.
he was going to talk about it.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
guess
how it
so,
works.
yeah. But although the joke wasn't cool, especially if you do have the knowledge of Jada's condition, it wasn't cool, I guess, to joke about that. But to be honest, he handled it like a pro.
Yeah, he
After
did.
he got slapped.
Totally did.
He was a little gooped. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
could tell,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Like, he
Yes.
was kind of stuttering a little.
Yeah.
He was trying to find his words. But overall, like as a host, like, oh my God, wow.
He mostly held it together, to be fair.
Galing.
Yeah.
He even
Oh.
called it the greatest Oscar moment in history.
And he said that he
Yup.
didn't know that she had a condition after the fact.
That was the point of the whole
And
thing.
come on, we've heard hosts say worse things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly.
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais said that he wouldn't even have gone after Jada's hair. He would have told a joke about her boyfriend.
I think that was worse.
Yeah.
So it's that whole comedy discussion where if it's offensive, where do you cross the line? But okay, all that aside, at the end of the day, would you recommend King Richard as a movie?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
As
yeah.
a Williams
It's a good
Sisters
movie.
fan,
Mhm.
yeah, please watch it.
Yes. I honestly thought I'd see another Will Smith biopic.
Yeah, like
I was gonna-
buhu awa.
Yeah.
Akala ko
Yeah.
ganun eh.
I mean, he actually earned the
He
Oscars for
did.
this
Yeah,
one. So
yes.
go watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can really just set aside the whole controversy, it's still a good watch, honestly.
Watch him whack balls instead. That does not sound right.
Not at all.
Oh, and with that, I think we're good. I think we're done. That's our cue.
You can watch. I mean, Jada won't. I don't think she's been watching that.
Oh, man. But yeah, okay. So that has been our episode about King Richard. Thanks again, Hazel, for joining us.
Oh, thank you
Thank you.
for having me.
You
I
gave
had
us-
fun.
You gave us so much perspective. Like, I had absolutely no
Yes.
clue about anything.
Game, set, and match. Is that right?
Very good. Good closing. Good closing.
Yeah. So this has been our first episode with a guest, and
Awesome.
we'll have more in the future. And this was great. This was amazing. Such a joy to have you, Hazel.
Thank you.
so
So
much.
happy.
Thanks for coming
Thank
over.
you.
Okay.
We gave you pizza. You gave us credibility.
Good trade. Good trade.
Yeah, pretty good. So, is there anything you want to plug? Maybe you can tell people to listen to your show.
Oh, you guys can listen to The Morning Rush on Monster RX 93.1, 6 to 10 in the morning. We also have a podcast on Spotify, so check that out. I do have a podcast as well. I mean, we haven't been recording in a while. My partner gave birth and all, so no, but
How
you can,
dare she?
you can check out the Tita Girls podcast on Spotify as well.
All right, so go catch Hazel there, and you can catch us at Sub-Auteurs on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Sub-Auteurs We Like Movies is our Facebook group where you can chat with us, or maybe give us suggestions on what movies we can cover in the future, or if you have any ideas for guests on who you want us to have on the show, because yes, apparently we're doing this now.
Guys, wag lang yung taga Hollywood.
But
But why not?
But why not?
Why not?
Idris Elba!
Maybe his PA.
I'll get back to you.
And we have Instagram, sub_Auteurs. Follow us there too. Yeah, so go watch King Richard. Slapping aside.
Okay,
Still a good one.
Game, set, and match.
Game,
Okay
set,
na.
match.
All right.
Yes.
We'll catch you again in the next episode. My name's Mai.
I'm Misha.
I'm Anjo.
And
I'm Hazel. Bye.
so I have a question though. Did they say anything at tennis matches? Sorry, that's why I had to we had to guess you
we have
because
an
I have
expert. We have an expert.
we don't know anything about tennis. So what do they say at the start of the? Is there like any particular phrase or something before they start the game?
Game.
Okay, sige. I guess wala.
G? G.
Okay, oh G. All right.
Let's get it on.
Woo, okay.